Hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pink Tron. I am Brent Robinson. I'm joined today by, let's start with Marjolein Devlager. Marjolein, what are you drinking?
I've got a bottle of water because I just finished the race, and I've got a what's it called? A slaapmutske, so nightcap, something like that, and it's
Mud,
a gluten-free Belgian brown ale, I think, which is a translation.
did you say mud kip?
Slaapmutske.
That Muska.
I'm going to trust that sounds delicious in Dutch.
It's quite good. Yeah.
And that was Craig Martin. Craig, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a Moosehead Small Batch East Coast IPA.
Excellent. And we also have Sean Bogenberg. Sean, what are you drinking?
I've got a grapefruit sparkling water.
Are you racing later?
I'm thinking I might.
Attaboy. And we also have John Keenan, who is wearing. So we gotta go back. So Sean is wearing a herd t-shirt for sure. John has a penguin t-shirt that
Know your
that
penguins,
know
all
your
of them,
penguins. Know
all
your penguins.
28 penguin species.
All right, John, what are you drinking?
I've got a kombucha with mango and passion fruit green tea. Pretty good.
Very nice. And Stef Etchen is with us as well. Steph, what are you drinking?
I'm not being on board now. I'm some red wine. It's a Corona red wine from the Trentino region in Italy. Because it's a treat for me. Because like I said in the pre-chat, I've done today 130K rides, and I've also done two other metric centuries already this weekend. So that's the first treat, but I think the second treat is for we're missing him on the Pink Tron, but our Pink Tron member Steve Pritchard is it's his birthday today. He's not physically here, of course, but he's enjoying some dinner with his wife. So happy birthday, Steve! Cheers, and enjoy the rest of the weekend with Mrs. V and Jack, of course.
Sounds like you might yet drop in from one of the comments, so we'll see. We all might
Yeah,
get to wish him
we'll
a
see.
happy birthday online. Good. Yeah, happy birthday, Steve. He sent his menu around for his birthday dinner, and I'm like, Steve, I'm already fat. Thanks. Like it looked amazing. And I actually have a Founders and Farmers Light Lager made in YYC by Big Rock Brewing. It's like the local, actually, like grocery store chain one, but it's made by like I think you can't really call Big Rock a microbrewery anymore, but it's a local brewery anyway. It's not sort of acquired by the multinationals yet. So
It's
it's
not
good.
part of
It's like
AB InBev.
no, not AB InBev, or what's the other big one? Is it Anheuser something?
That's
Oh,
AB stands for
that's AB InBev.
Anheuser-Busch. So
Oh, is there a big Brazilian one then or something?
Yeah, it
yeah,
wasn't Interbrew the big one, or is that part of
Interbrew,
Anheuser-Busch?
maybe
that's
that's the other one.
also I think that's the same. It's just a one conglomerate, which is
Oh my
as
God.
its seat here in the city of it.
There you go. Well, mine is not that. So, speaking of things you want to be light for, this week on HSRL, it is London Uprising. Marilyn, you want to go through this week's HSRL?
Uh, do I have to relive it again?
Well, we can tell you. Why don't you just go through the route and stuff, and then maybe John and I'll talk about racing it. You don't have to go through it if you don't feel
I'll
like it.
shut my ears. Yeah. Yeah. So the London Uprising is Uh, quite simple. You go from the London Pens to the, is it Box or Fox? I never
Box
know
first.
which one. Fox. So
Yep.
up Fox, down Box. Then you go to the center, do the sprint, and then it's back to Box Hill. And the finish is, I didn't really pay attention anymore at that point. So it was probably after the little bump So after the Box Hill banner, you get a little bump, and then you go in the downhill, and somewhere in the downhill is the finish line. So if you're going for the win, pay attention.
Keep going.
Yeah, it's
Keep
probably
going.
about
Yeah.
200 meters from the top of that little bump in the downhill. Like it's pretty close to it, but it is definitely past it on the downhill. So yeah, stick on it. Yeah.
So punch it up it and keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the segments are the Fox Hill climb, the sprint, and the Box Hill climb, and then points at the finish. Which
Just so
are
everybody knows, I hate HSRL with these two climbs.
oh yeah.
They are just short enough that I can go hard enough that it just hurts so bad.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, this is legit. Like there, I think it took me today, like I was in the 8 minutes because I am grossly out of shape, but like the fastest bees on box were like in the low sevens and Fox were in the high fives. So yeah, you can go pretty hard like for 7 to 10 or 5 to 10 minutes. Like that's
Yeah.
go. I think like yeah, so just for so this the winning D's were like over 10 on box and in the eights for Fox and C's were in the eights for box and under 7 on Fox. So
Yeah. So it actually looks like most of the like third place in the C's was 9 minutes for box.
Mhm.
yeah,
Fox looks like it was a lot more close. So
yeah, yeah. So I mean, yeah, they're I don't know what zone it is. So it's like zone 5 for sure. Like it's higher than threshold.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Although I was only probably going my old threshold on the second one because I was dead. But
Yeah,
um,
that is assuming that you can still do threshold for the second climb,
yep,
which most
yep.
should, depending on how things get ridden and whether you've given whether you've given 100% sprint in the middle.
Yeah, I got third on
Yeah,
the
and
sprint.
even then, there's quite a lot of time to recover.
Yeah.
Not really, not that much, but there's some time to recover.
I actually thought it was really interesting for a ZRL course because with the climb being kind of early, stuff broke up, but like the categories were all like coming together and it was really like mashed up. So I know like at one point you and I were riding, I think right before the sprint, John, or right before we got
Yeah, it was a little too far before the sprint to make it worthwhile for me, but yeah.
yeah. So like there was lots of like group intermingling stuff. Like we were with the A's almost the whole way through the flat section. Like not
Hmm.
the very fastest A's went through us right. Like I was at the back of the B's on the climb, and they were through us like at the top of the climb and kind of off the front a little bit. But then the next like group of 2 or 3 A's came through, and then there was like a group of 6 or 7 of us into the sprint, which was good. Like that was a nice little group to go for the sprint with. Although obviously the fact that I got third means that most of their B's did not know they were supposed to sprint. But
Hmm.
um, you know, that was just, and then there were like a few for a while. There's some C's and there's some D's. So there's lots of bodies. There's lots of people to like kind of tag along and try and strategize with about how you can hold on or not hold on and stuff like that to get back to the climb again. Once you get to the climb, it's kind of got to go. Other tips would be like the bees definitely picked up the pace early before the climb. So like the lead into Fox Hill is like pretty steep. Like I think it goes like 5-6% before you actually hit the actual red
Yeah.
line for the climb. So like the bees started going. You know, debate for yourself how much you can like claw back by not going an extra minute or two early versus you know, catching up and staying with the group and stuff. Like I think I went a little slow, but I did catch like 5 or 6 people right in the first minute. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to watch out there because I was trying to tail gun the group. I was still thinking I could try to beat some riders, and but leading up to Fox Hill, a lot of riders were dropping off also. So I had to catch up before the starting line to the main group. And then the first riders were already going and I couldn't follow them. So if you're tail gunning, watch out for riders dropping off. So
How much, I mean, were we going fast enough to make the draft worthwhile at all up Fox? It seems like we're going like 15K PH. Maybe.
It's not a big benefit,
Yeah,
but you
it's
do want to
pretty.
be in the draft over the top.
Well, that's
Yeah,
it. I
like
pushed hard to catch a guy who was just a second or two in front of me, and he drug me down the backside. Yeah, that
Yeah.
helped.
yeah,
I think there's
yeah,
probably some, but I think you really want to be in the group in between the two hills. So yeah,
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
you want to you don't want to go off the front and beat everybody by 20 seconds on Fox. You want to beat everybody by 2 seconds.
So,
or yeah.
Brent, looking forward to having to race this in the bees. Was there a decent group of folks doing what you would consider, high C numbers up that first climb? 3.7s, 3.8s, round four, maybe.
Yeah. What was my, let's see if I can pull up my
Looks
results.
like you did 7 minutes at 3.7, and there were,
Yes, there's probably 3 or 4 of us that are on that pace.
yeah. How does so? I was looking at the your results page on Swift Racing, and it looks like this is your first race since March.
Sounds about
Uh,
right.
how's that? How's that feel? Had you ridden at all leading
I
up, or was this just like let's
I
go?
think about a week ago I did like zone 2 for an hour. Uh, I guess I don't know. Like, listen, I could clearly not put out the power that I am used to doing, and certainly the second climb was bad. Like I was really struggling. Um, but not not as bad as I thought it could have been. I mean, I'm also like very heavy right now, so that really didn't help the climbing. But I'd be curious. What did I have to look what my sprint ended up at? I think it was like not as bad as I thought it could have been.
Well, since you finished third on that segment, wasn't indeed not too bad.
Yeah, 840. Oh, that's all right.
Six four,
Not even.
646 watts. It says.
Yeah, but that's
I,
going to be
oh
wrong.
yeah, it's still green, so it's
Yep.
very
Okay.
wrong. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know how to go look at that, but it was like it felt okay, like not good, but not totally brutal. So like I said, it felt like probably when I started Zwift and I was not fit. And I
Felt like when you've been off the bike for 2.5 months.
exactly. But like I guess the thing that's an advantage though is like I didn't forget how to do it. Do you know what I
Yep.
mean? Like
Yeah.
I was still in the draft, so I could play the now. I knew how the points worked, so I could like I got third on the sprint. So like those parts of it don't go away, which is nice. No, it's no steering, right? Like I've got that right.
yeah, no
Yeah,
steering.
yeah. So I like there's no real technique to any of that. Um, yeah, it was race like I guess this is the thing, the famous quote from I think it's Greg LeMond is like it doesn't get easier, you just go faster. And
Yep.
when you get out of shape, it doesn't really get harder, you just go slower.
Yep.
So like you're still going hard. I don't know what my heart rate is. It probably didn't actually quite get my heart rate up as high as other times because I just probably had a little mental block on some of that. My legs are not very strong, but you go as hard as you can until your brain like gets foggy and starts to shut off, and then you're like, I guess that's as hard as I can go today. And it says 300 instead of 370.
Yeah. Just looking on Strava, it looks like your sprint was like the actual sprint, maybe 9 seconds at 750.
Sounds about right. Which is like a little low. Like I'd probably like to be closer to 900 for something like that, but
Yeah.
850. Like I timed,
Cool.
like it was a little tricky too, because so I was actually in a group with Scorekeeper at the sprint. So
Mhm.
like
That helps.
it was kind of good to like, watch his timing and when he went and just try to like basically go and stay with him. And he came from like a little bit behind me and then started a little earlier. And so basically like he was close enough that I could see him like wind up. So I wound up basically right behind him. And then, I mean, he was 2, 3 seconds probably in front of me, but like we were the two of us were like way through the group. Like I was kind of 8 meters off the back of the group and he would have been like 10. And then we went right through the group, like right off the front. So, I mean, that's a little bit of like when you're doing the sprint, it's tough to like kind of maybe squeeze those last 5 pedal strokes at the end when you're already 20 meters in front of everyone in front of you, even though you're racing for time against
Yeah.
whoever else. But
Yeah.
I like this course though. Like I know like 2 hills or whatever, but um I actually think the custom finish line is the better finish line, not just because I know we have to do that for segments, but I mean, I guess a finish line at the top of box is fine. Like it's fine, but I actually like you have to race through box and then up the bump still. Like it's like that's a
Yeah.
more interesting finish to me than
Mhm.
sort of that long 2-3% that you do to round off Box Hill. So
Also, you don't have the zoom pan when you're finishing. If you're in a battle with someone, that can be quite jarring if you
yeah,
have that.
but like
Yeah, we don't have to do it because of the segments, but because usually it works. But I also do it because the course is not that long. So I try to make it a little bit longer. But it's always a guess where the finish actually is. So yeah, it also has to be before the road splits, and some riders go left and some riders go right. So always a little bit on the safe side, trying to make it as long as possible.
Yes, we experience, unfortunately, with what is it? The France, new France route that ends on Petit KOM. That's always you up vent up instead of going to the right, so it's not lappable or doable. Yeah.
Yeah, did you find, Brent, there was somebody that was close enough for you to chase or they were chasing you after you got through box spanner? I was like
yep.
30 seconds from anybody, so I was like, oh, okay. I don't
Oh.
have to kill myself, but
No, I was like I said, so at the top of Fox, there was 3 of us that were together in a group, and then who were like Bs, and then like there was 3 or 4 As that ended up with us. Like we were with one group of As, and
yeah.
then they obviously wanted to catch the next As that had come through earlier, so they kind of like really put the gas on is when we hit the escalator and then the bridge there after you come out of the escalator. So that kind of gapped us, and we kind of just you could see like the B guys are like, no, we're not doing 4.2 now. Have fun.
Yeah.
And so then the next group of A's got in with us, and there was a group I think about 5 or 6 of them. And that was the group that we ended up in the sprint in with Scorekeeper.
With Scorekeeper, yeah.
Yep. And then
his
at
jersey. That was a wild jersey.
It's always the
It's
Cape
like-
Epic jersey.
Oh, is that what that is? I have not recognized that. Okay, it's nice looking. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a good jersey. And then so then at the sprint, him and a couple other A's like pressed on, and I actually like pressed a little bit to stick in with them. And then those 2
Okay.
other Bs that I was with fell off the back, and we actually caught like the next Bs up the road. So I ended up in
Okay.
the like I think it would have been the second group of bees, maybe third group of bees. Um, yeah, it must have been like third group because they would have been like the 42-minute group or 44-minute group. Anyway, so we were in that group, and then the and then like that A group even pressed even on a little bit more and like tried, I think, to catch the leaders. And they might have even got there. But those guys
Mhm.
that I'd come down the hill with, they fell off the back. So then when we got to the hill, the guys that I was with dusted me, but I had to try and stay away from the guys that were coming from behind me by about 25, 30 seconds, which I did
Okay.
not do. They caught me. But, that was
Ouch.
always like, there was always people to race against pretty much
Yeah, yeah.
from the whole race for in the bees. Like it was a good, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a deep, like good numbers, right? 22 in the bees,
Yeah, it's a big B field for
14
sure.
Cs, 13 As, like, those
Yeah, I
are
think even on Swift, there were 24 Cs, so a lot of them not on Swift Power.
Hmm.
so I was anyway, like I was happy with the field, the competition level, like even for a guy who was I second slowest in the Cs overall. Um, felt good.
Nice.
All right. So yeah, are we down to 5 slots now? Like there's 6 total slots in a weekend for HSRL, or do we have 7 still?
We have 6 total.
6 total. Okay, so
So
5 more
yeah,
times to go.
5 more times. Yes.
Good, good. All right, so yeah, get out there and race it. This is the first points one of season of HSRL 2025 2. So yeah, we
Yeah.
TT last weekend, and this is the first points one. So yeah, good, good. I didn't have this route badge, so that was nice. Get route badge points.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of new routes in the season, so probably some more route badges to get in the following weeks too.
Good, yeah. So yeah, good attendance for Summer Zwift. Fun route, good racing.
Some new folks. Somebody asked after, at least after I crossed the finish line, I think they did too, if it was kosher to grab onto groups coming through you, which I think we've established it is. It's perfectly fine and encouraged to grab
It's
onto that faster group
it's
moving through.
entirely why we start them in with
That,
delays like that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that should be clarified for anybody who hasn't run these before.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And again, super fun and lapping courses.
Like I
Yeah,
said,
with the crits.
in this one, I thought it was really good. Like there was, like I said,
Yeah.
there was, I think there were C's that finished up the road, but from us with the B's and stuff, like there was blue dots all the way up there. I don't know how many D's would have been up there, but you know, I thought
Two
it
of
was
the
a
D's
really good
finished before
HSRL
the
course.
C's, so yeah.
There you go. So I think good
Yeah, I think
HSRL course.
for this course the times between the groups are quite good. For some other courses, it will be a little bit too short probably because this is a shorter course. But the 2 or 3 minute gaps are perfect for this course because everyone gets over Fox Hill almost at the same time. So yeah,
Yep.
works for this course.
Exactly. All right. That brings us to herd beginner racing. Who wants to do herd beginner racing? Steph, Craig, one of you guys know?
I can talk about that a little bit. So we've got the course is electric circuit. Sorry, not circus, but circuit.
Loop.
Or electric loop. Sorry. My bad. I got it wrong.
That's some 90s Canadiana getting your tongue, Craig.
I
I thought
know.
we had a new course.
Yeah, electric circus. Yeah. Anyway,
Do we need to like do the breakdown for people who aren't like mid 40s Canadians?
I'll leave it to you.
The Electric Circus was a show on Much Music, which was the Canadian version of MTV in the 90s, in which they played like dance music videos from like probably like 10, 11 p.m. at night for like
Yeah.
2 hours. So it was like you would go, it was like you were supposed to be like in the club watching like the Electric Circus, and they had like a weird neon logo, and some guy would be like, yo, 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 party, let's go. Here's the newest hit from DJ Maple Leaf or whatever, because of course it was all terrible
DJ
Canadian.
Maple Leaf.
Loke Dog Jr. or somebody. Yeah.
DJ Maestro Fresh West.
Beavers are us.
But
Yeah.
anyway,
Anyway.
yeah, so Electric Loop, it is entirely flat. There's no points or anything in this, so the sprint segments don't really matter. And in this, with our extremely narrow categories, you only see your own category. So hopefully we're starting to get some good numbers from the Zwift beginner racing group. So yeah, we'll if we can get those numbers up a little bit, I think that has the potential to be some really, really good racing with those tight groups.
Yeah, and I think also
Distinction above and below 225 ZRS score. 3
Yeah.
laps above, 2 laps if you're below.
Oh, was it? Okay. Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's like it's 2 laps
Yeah,
for
and-
the D's and E's.
And usually, if you ride, like Nathan Tracta a couple of weeks ago mentioned, Jeff Stoll of the Birds makes always almost weekly recap of his race, like under 10-minute videos, how his race went, explaining things.
Yeah, they're really good videos.
Nicely edited. That's
Yeah.
what I appreciate about
Yeah.
it.
Just sped up. You can see the race, and you focus on various moments. Yeah, it's good done. It's done. Watch a few of them.
Okay, so I think that covers with beginner. Stef, we are.
Yes.
Are we calling these ones Climber's Gambit Challenge or?
It's Herd Climbers Gambit meets Stampede Challenge, I call it, or X it's Climbers Gambit X Stampede Challenge. Because unfortunately, due to circumstances, we didn't have a challenge on in May for Stampede, so we mixed it up. So it's basically, like I said, Climbers Gambit meets Stampede. We chosen the course of Bologna TTT, which we used last week for the HSRL a prologue. Was well received, and also a couple of people were interested in, because it's a route they don't see that often on events. So basically, our monthly challenge concept is basically we have five time slots. You basically do the Bologna TT as fast as you can. You can do it as many times as you want, and only your fastest time for the mount counts. So you can experiment with the setups or pacing setups, as we discussed. Setups maybe not so much as we discussed last week, but I think this is going to be that the bike upgrades are enabled. So whoever has a level 5 bike, I think, the TT bike or whatever, maybe has some advantage over others. So who knows?
I think as we went through, this is short enough. I don't think there's a lot of difference from the bike upgrade anyway. I think it's going to be a second or two at most.
Yeah. For me, it was, I think, like I explained last week, my tarmac SL8 was 1 second below the TT setups at 0, and for level 3, which I have now, was like 7 seconds faster than the TT setup at my pacing of like 3.2 or something like that. So yeah, but it's a 20 minute effort. So yeah, not that much in the grand scheme of things. As we discussed, it's more about pacing. Yeah, like we discussed, having keeping some reserve on the flats to smash it up what you have left on the hill is the most important thing.
And there's no segment on Bologna, right? This is
Uh,
the full course time.
Yeah,
I
so
think
this,
I think technically the TT's course is a segment, but I'm not sure. But yeah, it's one
Well, I
lap,
mean,
so
there's no hill segment like on a
yeah,
climbers.
No.
yeah, no, there's no hill segment. There is a hill at the end, but so that's why it's Stampede meets Climbers Gambit.
Nice.
And I've put up the posts in the two herd groups in Swift Racers. Was going to do it on the Discord, but I still need to do that. And the races start from Sundays, June 1st. Only the ones until Monday have populated so far. So as I explained in my post, as the other will populate, I will update and put them in Swift Power and connect them to the league. And I will, as Marjolein suggested, we'll do a weekly update how it's going, and just also having the announcement generate more attention to it.
Nice. So that's a good thing to be bringing back, and a good kind of mashup between climbing and TT. So, do we need to talk about Bologna's strategy again? I think if you're not familiar with Bologna strategy, just go back to last week.
yeah,
It was all covered.
we talked about it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Agreed. And I mean, we're
This
just
is a nice chance to try some different tactics each week and
Yeah.
compare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Little bike setup changes, all that kind of stuff. And I mean, yeah, just looking like if you can go to like the list of episodes and type in Bologna, every time Bologna comes up, we probably talked about the pacing
Yeah.
strategy. So
Probably.
we could probably skip it this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that brings us to, well, it would normally bring us to the news. I think we've decided there is not really any news. Although I will say, in searching for the news, I did stumble upon the Zwift apparel sale, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure that I would actually spend even $20 on a t-shirt that says Zwift on it, because I don't know, it's a little weird always to slap some corporate logo on yourself. But I say that as I'm wearing like a professional sports team hat on my head anyway. Um, lacrosse doesn't really count as professional sports. They all have other jobs. But I would say the interesting thing to me is that Zwift plays are on sale from 80 to $50 US, which
Yeah.
is both interesting to me. Like, number one, if you don't have Zwift plays and you want a pair, it's probably a good time if you're an American. But like, that's a pretty steep discount on a product that's like 18 months old. No, 2 years.
And they're even giving them away at the moment if you reach level 85.
80 or 85, I can't remember. Yeah.
85, I think. I got mine a few weeks ago for
Yeah.
getting to that level.
So the issue is they built them. There's everybody that's going to buy them at that price has already bought them. They're just going to trickle out from here on out. So if they want to move the ones they have left, they've got to move them.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. In my sort of hardware experiences, I mean, number one, Zwift knows exactly how many people use Zwift a lot, and I bet they could have guessed within like 1,000 people how many people are going to buy Zwift plays. Like, just I mean, they know a lot about what you do on Zwift, so I'm sure they can probably predict pretty closely. So there shouldn't really that many production issues. So they shouldn't have like really had a gross oversupply of them. But then, like I said, the closest thing I would compare like Zwift hardware stuff to is like video game hardware, and usually the video game hardware gets discounted when they're starting to bring the next thing out. And so like if they're starting to like put these on sale to like run the stock out, that leads you to think that there is like Zwift Play 2's coming
Maybe.
or
I mean,
something. I mean, I know there's Swift Ride frames are again still not available in Canada. Swift, let's talk. Why do you hate me? Um, but you know, I wonder how much number one the frame catalyze like cannibalized Zwift Play pickup, right? Because if you have a Zwift Ride, you don't need Zwift Plays because
well,
the
they come with
handlebars.
them, I think, don't they?
Yeah, well, it's built into the
Yeah,
handlebars,
Yeah.
yeah.
so that's kind of interesting. But then, like, where do you like? I don't know. Mine were good. I don't know. I think lots of us have. I don't. Do anyone have
Yep.
like problems with theirs? Like, I don't know what you'd do to upgrade them, honestly, without really changing the game.
Don't think.
Some custom button mapping, but I don't
Yeah,
see why that wouldn't
That's
be possible
software.
Yeah,
with
or
the ones
firmware.
we
Yeah.
have now. There's probably something to keep people to have people using Swift to keep them using Swift. So they, unlike the controllers or the hardware from all the other video games, those can be used with all kinds of video games.
Hmm.
These can
Oh
only
yeah.
be used with Swift.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. That's
Yeah.
if Zwift is trying to come up with a version of these that are multi-platform, that would be very interesting. That would also shock me.
There are already third-party apps that like take the input from your cogs and your plays and your clicks and whatever and makes it open to any of the other game like
yeah.
platforms.
Grand Theft
Yeah,
Auto, like
but yeah, technically there are some third party. But for instance, I explained it. I use Ruby, and that has opened the possibility to work virtual shifting when you have a Swift click, have the Swift ride, but also have the Swift click due to some circumstances. So I was able to. I can't use my virtual shifting I normally use for on my Swift ride for Ruby, but I can use the Swift click to virtual shift in that game, so I can use it there. So I don't even need a third party app. It's just the hardware. But yeah, there are some questions with this. Maybe the apps like QZ, which word is questionable on quotation marks. But yeah, people see it reference numerous of times when you go on Ruby, and people like wanting, I have the Swift Lite, I want to use it, and people keep referencing the QZ app.
Yeah. It's very curious to me that they're like putting a 25%, 30% discount on these.
They do usually 10 to 10. I've seen discounts before on plays, so it's not a new thing. But yeah, I don't know if you can improve it. And like always, the dollar is pretty similar to the euro, but it's basically the same as in euros. It's 80 euros and 50 euros. So
I think
if
there's a lot of
them,
room for improvement. I think you could make it for flat bar bikes. You could make it for campy.
yeah,
You could make it
yeah,
for like there could be a lot of little
yeah,
tweaks and make it easier that would make it I think.
That's a good.
that's true. You can have it for various bike steer setups, or like Sean explained in the past, can't use it because it's interferes with shifting. It's where the
Yeah.
Zwift blade is. So
Although
yeah,
I got them for free because I'm above that level threshold
yeah,
and I made them work.
You did.
They're,
okay.
Okay.
the thumb trigger doesn't actually hit the thing, so I wasted
So it
a year and a half or whatever getting dropped because I couldn't chase people. Uh,
so you made a hack out of instead of a box.
No, I actually thought that on as long as other than on shallow drop bars, you should be able to get both on there.
yep.
Well, not on your BMX hanging on the back of the wall. It wouldn't work on that, would it?
Probably not.
I mean, unless you're willing to like really torque your wrists around to hit the buttons.
Yeah, I think it's hard to get that 110 millimeter rear end onto the trainer anyway.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say if you can get the BMX on the trainer, the plays are the least of your worries. All right. I think that brings us to round the horn, and we wanted to talk about heat and hydration. It's summertime here in the Northern Hemisphere. Sean just gave us the weather update on California, where it is, I think the exact
Stinking
words were,
hot.
yeah, brimstone level heat. So
you you don't go out with that temperature, or at least I don't.
So I guess I've got two things to talk about. Neither of which has anything to do with cycling.
Mhm. You're on the right podcast, Craig.
I know, but I mean it's exercise outdoors, right? So the first is so I used to go up to the Ottawa Marathon because that was the Canadian Forces National Championship for running. So I'd go there most years, and whether I was doing the 5K, 10K, half marathon, or marathon. And the big issue is that the seasons don't match up between New Brunswick and Ottawa. And at the end of May, when that race is, it is significantly warmer there than it is here. And yeah, so it's not usually really all that hot, but it's probably 10 or 15 degrees warmer than I'd been training in. So I always had a lot of issue with heat. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to be done about it. All you can do is drink some sports drink some water, and go. But yeah, I think all I did was maybe keep running in long sleeve shirts a little and sweating a little longer through the spring to deal with it. But that's probably doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean there are some approaches. For example, if I we are 5 or 6 weeks out from an event that I might try here in Davis on July 4th, when the average temperature that day is usually around 40 degrees C. Like it gets hot. Um, and you're riding around, there's good it's better than indoor fans, but it's indoor fans, blowing hot air at you.
Mhm.
Uh, and I think that there are a couple of approaches. You can heat train, so I could ride inside with no fans. Sounds like hell. Uh, the other thing that I've done in the past, when I was really so a lot of heat training is training yourself to sweat better, and to your body to keep more blood plasma so that you can sweat. And one of the things that really seemed to work when I had a hot tub at my old house was do my ride, get off the bike, and just go sit in the hot tub for 45 minutes afterwards. So I'm like, keep the sweat going. So if people have like a hot tub or a sauna and you're trying to do heat training, just like going and sitting in more heat, even if you're not exercising, uh, does train the sweating and the blood plasma part.
Okay.
And it extends the unpleasantness
Oh,
farther
I
than.
mean, I don't know. I
I mean,
kind of
I
like
don't know.
the
If
I
you're
kind of
not
like sitting
working
in a hot
hard,
tub.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you're not working hard, it probably feels good on the muscles to some extent. Yeah.
I think the thing too is always like, especially when you get to like those levels of heat and you're going to be sweating that much, is to remember that you got to replace electrolytes and stuff. I know I was just talking to someone who just like literally drinks salt water, which is a bit bananas cuckoos to me. But like just water is not going to cut it once you get to probably somewhere in the 60 to 75-minute range. You're going to need to start replacing some electrolytes. Like you're going to get, yeah, I'm gonna, is it hyponaemia? When you get the, like, if you just drink water and you're just sweating out electrolytes and then you like get overwatered.
Hyponatremic. Yeah.
Hyponatremic, yeah. You got to avoid that. That's real dangerous stuff. I know, like in real long distance triathlons, they talk about that all the time that you can't.
Yeah.
If you just drink water and you're sweating out electrolytes, you're going to have problems. So yeah, make sure if it's whatever your drink is, it's like got some salts and stuff in it that'll replace that stuff. And I mean, be careful. Like I think the other thing is like listen to your body. Like listen, maybe someone listening to this is like winning the Olympics. Probably not, but the rest of us, like it's not worth it, man. Like I did a race in Cozumel and it was 38 degrees out, and I was watching guys fall over and stuff to go win like 18th place in men's 35 at age group worlds. Like I don't know, man. Like I watched Johnny Brownlee pass out, his brother throw him across the finish line, but the rest of us, like just finish, man. Like don't don't hurt yourself. It's just especially like training, and you're not going to get faster if you have to recover for 2 weeks because you've absolutely cooked yourself and you know um you know died. So like if it's too hot, scalar back. I mean, put ice and stuff in your water bottles, freeze your water bottles. That's another good one, right? Yeah. Fill it halfway up and then put it in the freezer and then fill it up before you go out. And then you got a big chunk of ice in there that'll help keep it cool because both, number one, like the cooling will help if it's cold, but also I don't know about you guys, but if you're out on the bike for 2 hours with, especially if you haven't like stopped to like pick it out of a aid station or something, like the water gets so hot and it's like not refreshing at all. Like
Yeah.
especially like a sports drink that's like sugary and that it's hot. It's like drinking syrup. I mean, it's bad.
Yeah.
So, um,
You don't want that
Yeah,
disincentive.
yeah,
yeah, for reference, I did it like Marjolein has done also lots of long distance, but I did today like 130K rides was about mid 20-ish, which is hot, but not too hot. I feel it when it gets above 30. Basically, for my nutrition and uh, drink, I had like 2-liter water bottles with all my electrolytes, my drinks mixed, and that works fine. Maybe I could have done just with an extra water bottle with just water, but I think it also depends on each person that acts differently, how you react to temperatures or how you're trained. Because I seem to get along with those 2 water bottles. If it's not overly hot, I'm speaking above them, around the 30 degrees centigrades. That's no temperature for me, but for me, the 25 degrees or average, just 2-liter water mixed with drink mix, which has plenty of replenishment of my carbs in there, and the water was just fine. And usually when I ride, it's here in Belgium. I can, if I really need it, I basically, if I'm running out of water or anything, I could basically stop at a cafe, drink some cola, and replenish my water bottles there. So that's no issue. But yeah, I think it's also on a personal level how people react to the heat, but also how they are trained, what they can take in or work with.
I will say so even outside of like what you're drinking, what you're putting in your water bottles, be prepared when it's hot that you will not be seeing the same heart rates that you expect for a given level of effort.
Yeah,
The highest heart rate I ever hit was, I'm actually going back to check this because I believe that I called it hummingbird, like hummingbird heart rate. I was out doing I was essentially doing an FTP test, and I had it planned for a day, and I was like, all right, well, we'll see how this goes. Um, and it was, I can actually find it. It was 95 degrees, 35 degrees, somewhere in there. Uh, and my heart rate hit 204, which is about, and that was just in the middle of a FTP test. So it was like 10 minutes into the 20-minute effort. 10 minutes into a 20-minute max effort, usually I'd be 185. So I was like plus
Yeah.
20. And I pulled the plug then because it was like it's not worth
Yeah.
it to try and keep this going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something to keep an eye on because it is, especially if you're trying to train by heart rate outside, like
Yeah.
that's
I'm not good with it, but I noticed that today that my on certain levels it wasn't that high, but I did can notice. I noticed in the past when if I'm indoors or it's hot outside, I can notice that my heart rate is way is a bit above the level of effort I'm on riding. So if I was riding zone 2, and in certain moments I was having a zone 3 tempo heart rate, for instance. It wasn't in the the FT, FTP range, but yeah, still.
What do people think about long sleeves when I'm running or walking outside? I just want to be covered from the sun, but cycling, it seems like it's not worth the lack of ventilation at that point. But
I can. I've seen people with long sleeves or arm warmers in when it's hot. I've seen it before, but because of that reason that people don't like with their sunburns or whatever, it keeps them cool.
Yeah,
But then again, I seen lots of strange things. People when you're riding, it's like hot or cold, and you see people wearing clothes that's completely opposite of what you expect. But I've seen it before. Yeah,
I think there are also arm warmers that are meant to protect from the sun. So
yeah,
they're
just like
probably
yeah, it
sun
could
more
be.
sleeves.
breathing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I do actually sometimes throw a pair of sun sleeves on when I'm
yeah,
out and it's like the sun cooks you here. It's
yeah.
yeah,
Okay, I can imagine. I always forget because if it, compared to 40 degrees, it's nothing. But sometimes when it gets above 20 degrees, I think, oh, it's good to ride the sun, and you come home and you're just sunburned because you forgot. Oh, I should have put a sunscreen on it because it's getting to that level of temperature that I need it. Yeah, that's different also for person to person.
Good. Well, I think stay safe out there, everybody, while you're training, and
Yeah.
there's a few tips to help you enjoy. I mean, it was warm in my basin today. I know other people probably get a little like their interiors change too. I know mine probably goes up about 20 degrees and just naturally from
mm,
doing nothing in the winter to doing nothing in the summer. And I'm sure like lots of y'all probably got AC here. Sean, I'm sure must. We actually, our new place has AC in it. I don't know. John, would you guys have AC in your part of the world?
yeah. I think it's becoming more popular. We put it in about 10 years ago because you get just these streaks of like 3 weeks in the 90s, and that's you
Yeah.
can't sleep through that.
Craig, does your place have AC there in Atlantic Canada? It's probably borderline.
Yeah. Well, so mini split heat pumps for heating and cooling. So
Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
jealous.
yeah.
Nice, nice. Europe, do you guys use AC in that part of Europe? No?
No,
I
you
don't
use
think it's standard here, but people have like temperature regulators, or I don't have it here. I just have a fan, but yeah, it's yeah. I don't think it's that required because it's like in the summer can get a couple of weeks hot above 30 degrees, but it's not that big of a deal. That's you need it a built-in AC, but it's I think it's becoming sometime a bit more common. But
yeah,
yeah,
you see them more and more because people use those that can also heat in the winter.
yeah,
Heat pump,
I
yeah.
think the big surge in the Pacific Northwest was maybe 5 years ago when the wildfire smoke was so bad and you couldn't even keep your windows open at night, or you didn't want to keep your windows open at night. So it just made it
yeah,
that much more
yeah.
oppressive. So yeah.
Good. All right. Well, yeah. So stay safe. Enjoy your training. And we will say thank you to Stef Jen. Thank you to John Keenan. Thank you to Sean Fogenberg. Thank you to Marjolein Leaguer. Thank you to Craig Martin. Thank you to everybody listening at home. Thank you to everybody doing their herd races this weekend. Hope you have fun out there, everybody, on London Uprising and the other herd races. Moo and good night.